Well, we're very lucky today to have David Rovics. He's a singer, songwriter, internet sensation, part of the Portland emergency eviction response. Fantastic work. And he's used his skills, his talents to highlight the struggle, and consistently has supported Julian Assange over the years. You may have seen him, and this is a great privilege for us, and I'd like to thank David, and a big round of applause. Thank you, David.
Great to see folks here. Let's see. Check. Behind these prison walls is a man who's won awards for the work that he has done and all that it affords, such as the knowledge of the horrors committed in our name. They can't stop the message, so the messenger gets blamed. Behind these prison walls, in solitary confinement, in a land of rolling hills and royalty and other such refinements, is someone who is a hero to whistleblowers everywhere, who help them tell the world of the crimes of Tony Blair. Behind these prison walls, you will find a mortal man, the reason why we know what happened in Afghanistan, when the soldiers of the empire, whose sons had long before, were torturing civilians in their terror war. Behind these prison walls is a part of WikiLeaks, an eloquent orator, but you won't hear him speak. Locked away in silence, one who knows too well how those in power act when there's another war to sell. Behind these prison walls is one who stands accused of exactly what offenses the U.S. has refused to say precisely which, or to try to clear the mist, or to explain how he's not the same as other journalists. Behind these prison walls is a person they deprive of most of the things in life that keeps us all alive. A person being tortured as we stand here now for revealing the war crimes. Why, when, where, how? Behind these prison walls, our very right to be informed of what the hell is going on is a teacup in this storm. With knowledge there is power, so the solution by the crown, a 24-hour-a-day indefinite lockdown. Behind these prison walls. This next song is so complicated to attempt to introduce that it's just nice that I don't have to introduce it at this particular, for this particular crowd. Can you imagine? I mean, in moments of less, when people are trying to find the humor in the most horrendous, darkest of situations, just imagine meeting Stella in the playground and being another mom who asks, "So, how'd you meet your husband?" When Julian met Stella in the embassy, in the only room for 7 years that he would ever see, guarded by police with cops on every street, an unusual situation for the first time you should meet. When Julian met Stella, the time they spent was increasingly within the walls of a little tent, where they could have some privacy from the ever-present gaze under which he was spending all his nights and days. When Julian met Stella, there was the chance of grace. Perhaps the president would decide to drop the case. They had 2 children beneath the watchful eyes of the Americans and British and all kinds of other spies. When Julian met Stella on Embassy Row, it was before he was abducted and forced to go to Belmarsh prison without a chance to speak, awaiting the extradition that the USA seeks. When Julian met Stella, the folks at the UN and people all around the world spoke out then. This journalist belongs among the free, not in prison for exposing crimes against humanity. When Julian met Stella, it's just, I can't highly recommend enough Nils Meltzer's book, The Trial of Julian Assange. I just finished it a couple weeks ago. It's just a fantastic book, and it's hard to, it's just, the toughest thing about it is how hard I think it is going to be, or is, for so many people, if not the vast majority of people, to try to reconcile the reality that you can encounter if you read this book, or if you have any familiarity with the legal proceedings that have gone on, if you can call them legal proceedings, over the past 10 years. It's just been it's just one thing after another. The corruption of the Swedish government and the UK government and the United States government, as well as the Ecuadorian government, is also, the fact that they could hold the IMF over the Ecuadorian state is somewhat less surprising, perhaps, than the abject servility of the Swedish government towards everything the CIA wants them to do. It's just a stunning thing when you see also not just the legal proceedings, but whenever they time their legal proceedings, they time every one of their legal proceedings for any time Julian is getting any kind of positive press. It's a very familiar phenomenon for anybody who has been subjected to a cancellation campaign. This is what they do, whether they're state actors or people just trying to ruin your career. It's the same kind of strategy. They maybe learn it from the same Rand Corporation study. I don't know. But this is, it all, of course, started with, especially went into high gear with the exposure of so many war crimes committed by the United States and the United Kingdom and all the other, so many other, Denmark, so many other countries. But then, just last week, I wrote a piece in Counterpunch about it. It was just too poetic in a way. Like Merrick Garland, of course, the Attorney General of the United States, was in Ukraine last week to talk about working with the International Court of Justice, which the United States is not a member of, to prosecute war crimes against Russia. And I commend the Attorney General for his interest in prosecuting war crimes, but it would be nice to actually start with the last administration or the one before that or the one before that in the United States, which are all responsible for so many war crimes that have never been prosecuted, so many of which have been exposed by WikiLeaks and Julian Assange in particular, which is why he's in prison. And this is one of those incidents that was exposed that led to some actions in Australia. I watched it on the TV. Machine guns fire towards the ground. Watch the people run. Helicopter gunship strafing the street. Watch them lining up the bodies in the Baghdad heat. They say these leaks had consequences, and I must agree. When I saw them fire on the children, it affected me. I thought, what if I were wearing the other shoe? If I had a hammer, what would I do? I am just a person like anyone. I am just another mother's son. I have no special powers. I cannot fly, not like that helicopter gunship up in the sky, sending all those bullets all around to the journalists and children on the ground. I am just one man, that's very true. But if I had a hammer, what would I do? Sometimes I try to wonder, why should I care? But then the answer seems so obvious. There are people down there. And right here in Queensland, there's an army base. And there's a helicopter gunship just sitting in place. There's a time for watching. There's a time to act. It's just gonna kill more children if it remains intact. I am just one person, but you are too. If you had a hammer, what would you do? If you had a hammer, what would you do? I'll do one more little song in honor of Julian's 51st birthday. The folks, some of the folks right here can tell you about, they're going to have the Julian Assange Defense Committee, or we'll have a table at the Toll Puddle Martyrs Festival, which is a wonderful labor-oriented festival that happens in Dorset in the middle of July. I'll be singing there as well, and so if anybody wants to come amplify the message at Toll Puddle, please do. And if you're in London and you want to come to a place that's just as hard to get to as Belmarsh Prison, I'm playing at the Telegraph at the Earl of Derby pub on Friday night. But good luck finding your way there. And there's a song I sang for Julian at the Ecuadorian Embassy a long time ago. I wrote it 22 years ago after somebody was killed at a protest. When the world has gone crazy and it's all becoming clear, when they're gunning down our comrades and it seems the end is near, as they're loading up the launchers for the tear gas grenades, we can take off our bandanas and kiss behind the barricades. When it's madness all around and you can see this at a glance, we will sing and we will cry, we will laugh and we will dance, as they shout their marching orders beneath the helicopter blades. We shall seize the moment for a kiss behind the barricades. They will try to break our spirit, and at times they may succeed. But our love for the world is stronger than their greed. When the building is surrounded and hope begins to fade, in my final hour, a kiss behind the barricades. As the movement grows, there will be hills and bends, but at the center of the struggle are your lovers and your friends. And the more we hold each other up, the less we can be swayed. Here's to love and solidarity and a kiss behind the barricades. Thank you.